Good afternoon, Jayhawks, and welcome to the final episode of Rock Chalk Replay. I'm your host, Andrew Lind. On today's show, Kristen Howell gives us an update on the university's women's sports teams. Kyle Mathis gives us the latest on the men's college basketball season. Emily Eddie tells us about the MLB Lockout. Now later in the show, Lily Brewington and Maddie Beischel tell us what we need to know about the NHL, and Jordan Ziegler shows us how the college football playoff played out. All this and more on Rock Chalk Replay. Kansas volleyball is headed to the Sweet 16, and women's basketball just defeated Vanderbilt in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. Kristen, what else is going on in women's sports?
Yeah, Andrew, the women's basketball team has done it again. Last Wednesday, taking on UT Rio Grande Valley and beating them 75-44. This moved them to 6-1 in the season, and junior Tiana Jackson led the team with 13 points. Their next game was on Sunday against Vanderbilt in their Big 12 SEC Challenge. KU was losing to the Commodores heading into the locker room at the half, but that was all about to change to come out for the second half of the game. The Jayhawks came out hard with an 11-0 run to start their third quarter and never looked back. This was yet another outstanding performance done by the team, and we can see that clearly when 3 Jayhawks scored in the double digits. Holly Kerskeeter led the team with 16 points, but Anaya Thomas and Tiana Jackson were not too far behind with 15 points each. KU is still undefeated in Allen Fieldhouse and hopes to continue that streak on Sunday when the Jayhawks take on Santa Clara. KU's women's track got a look into their season this weekend. The team started their indoor season by hosting the Bob Timmons Challenge on Saturday. Alexandra Emelianov, who was a returning All-American and Big 12 champion in her event last year, tied the 13-year-old school record for women's shot put. She threw an impressive 16.80 meters. Kansas accounted for 13 event victories at the meet, and the Jayhawks will be back in the new year with the KU, KSU, WSU triangular in January. Now, Kansas volleyball is certainly one team to talk about after the week they just had. The regular season ended, but the Jayhawks are just getting started. This past week, Caroline Crawford was named Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week, and London Davis earned Rookie of the Week. This wasn't the only honors the Jayhawks received. Super senior Jenny Mosser and sophomore Caroline Crawford were named to the All-American Big 12 second team. And freshman Cameron Turner was named to the All-American Big 12 rookie team. She was also joined by fellow freshman Caroline Bien. Bien has had an incredible rookie season. She was preseason Big 12 Freshman of the Year, and she did not let anyone down. In just her first season, she earned Freshman of the Year, first team All-Big 12, All-Big 12 rookie team, and was Rookie of the Week in back-to-back weeks. She led the team with 285 kills and is the second highest on the team with scoring 342 points and having 256 digs. Looking to the next season, Bien is a force to be reckoned with and can only continue to do better things. Now, as a team as a whole, in only their 10th appearance in the NCAA tournament in program history, the Jayhawks played the Oregon Ducks in round 1. The team never once lost their lead against the Ducks. Caroline Bien led the team with 13 kills, and Kennedy Ferris led all Jayhawks with 17 digs. The Jayhawks swept the Ducks in what looked like an easy first-round game. Their second-round game was played against 14th seed Creighton. The Blue Jays had a home court advantage, but that didn't stop the Jayhawks from powering through. The Jayhawks battled and won both opening set and the second one, but could not hold on to win the third. In the fourth set, neither team could gain more than a 2-point lead until the Blue Jays earned a 3-point advantage. This led the Jayhawks to a timeout, but then right after took the lead. Caroline Crawford closed out the game with the kill. For the third time in program history, the Jayhawks will be going to the Sweet 16 round. The Jayhawks will be playing number 3 Pittsburgh this Thursday. Now, Andrew, I'm excited to see what the volleyball team can do against Pittsburgh this Thursday. It may have been a year with some ups and downs, but in my eyes, we're just getting to see their full potential.
Yeah, Kristen, as you mentioned, Kansas volleyball is Sweet 16 bound with upset wins over Oregon and Creighton. The Jayhawks are still dancing. Now, over the course of the season, head coach Ray Bouchard has prioritized playing loose, and clearly that message has stuck. The team had a lot of pressure on its shoulders to make the tournament, but with an at-large bid, Kansas now has nothing to lose.
We talked a little bit about the pressure probably was from the last 2 weekends where we had to win to get into the tournament. Why would we worry about any pressure in this situation? Go enjoy it. Very few teams get to experience this. So don't go a moment without a smile for a teammate or over communicating or all those things. So I just think the vibe has been so good that ever since we saw our name come up on the board, they were not going to let this opportunity go by without creating our best case scenario and our best effort.
As Christian just mentioned, Kansas takes on number 3 seeded Pittsburgh on Thursday at noon Central Time. For complete coverage, head to Kansan.com or follow us on Twitter at Kansan Sports. After the break, I kick it over to Kyle, who has the latest on the men's college basketball season. What a crazy opening month it has been.
Why doesn't my skin look like theirs? Why is my nose so big? I'm never gonna look like those girls.
Welcome back. This just in, we have breaking news. Christian Braun, has been named the Big 12 Player of the Week in the Big 12 Conference. So congratulations to the Kansas Jayhawks and Christian Braun for that award. And speaking of college basketball season, it's been going on for about a month now, and it has been nothing less than spectacular. The top 4 teams have lost consecutively, with Kansas sadly losing to Dayton on a buzzer beater, Villanova losing to UCLA, Gonzaga losing to Duke and Alabama, and then Duke losing to Ohio State. With the season being so unpredictable already, I wanted to attempt to predict the Final Four that we could see in New Orleans in April. Here are my 4 teams. The first team I have making the Final Four is, of course, the Jayhawks of Kansas. Of course, I have to go with the Jayhawks. The Jayhawks may have lost to Dayton early in the season, but it is early in the season. One game cannot get into their mind, and KU hasn't let that happen, scoring over 95 points against their last 2 opponents. KU has a great roster with transfer guard Remy Martin, Big 12 leading scorer Ochai Agbaji, and Christian Braun. KU has the talent to make it to the Final Four, but they just have to figure out how to work as a team with their talent. The second team to make the Final Four in my mind is the Arkansas Razorbacks from the SEC. Arkansas made it to the Elite Eight last year before running into a powerhouse in the Baylor Bears, who ended up winning the national championship. Right now, they are 8-0 on the season, about a month into it. Senior guard J.D. Notai is averaging 18.1 points per game, with forward Jalen Williams being a menace on the glass with 8 rebounds per game. Arkansas has a lot of returning players, which is why I believe they can make it far in the tournament this year. The only team they should really worry about is their SEC counterparts, the Kentucky Wildcats. The third team I chose in my early Final Four will be the Purdue Boilermakers from the Big Ten. This just in, Purdue actually is number 1 in the AP poll this week, and they have come close many other years, but they haven't made it to the Final Four in at least 20 years, not in the 21st century. This could be their year, though. They are undefeated, could possibly be number 1 in the AP, or they are number 1 in the AP poll this week, and they have Jaden Ivey, who is making a statement with his points, free throw shooting, and field goal shooting. Also, with the students section, Mackey Complex, the home of the Boilermakers, is one of the toughest arenas to play at in the NCAA. So any team that comes into West Lafayette will have their work cut out for them. Look out for the Boilermakers this season. The fourth and final team I have making the Final Four is somewhat of an unexpected team. I have the Alabama Crimson Tide making it to New Orleans. Alabama only has 1 loss this season and upset Gonzaga this week in Seattle. Their only loss comes to a very talented and well-coached Iona team in the ESPN Invitational Tournament. Jaden Shackelford is having an amazing season with almost 20 points per game this season. They made it to the Sweet 16 last year and were a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. They won the SEC tournament as well. They are in a very tough conference in the SEC, though, which could be a burden for them in the season, but I don't think they will have any trouble making it to the tournament, probably as a 3 or a 4 seed. But you can't have the Final Four without a dark horse Cinderella school that nobody expects to make it. In 2018, it was 11 seed Loyola Chicago. 2019, it was 5 seed Auburn, and in 2021, it was UCLA, who was also an 11 seed. I think that team for 2022 will be the University of San Francisco. They are undefeated right now and are averaging about 80 points per game. They are the only undefeated team remaining in the West Coast Conference, and they have a stellar guard in Jamari Boye, who is averaging nearly 20 points a game. If you ever don't want to sleep on a team, San Francisco is that team. When the bracket comes out in March, which is a far way away, of course, don't sleep on the Dons of San Francisco. With that being said, keep your eye on the college basketball season as it progresses into conference play and gets even more intense. And don't forget to watch KU basketball play tomorrow against UT El Paso in Kansas City. After the break, Emma Lionetti will have more on the MLB Lockout.
Thanks, Kyle, and welcome back. At 11:59 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday night, the MLB's Collective Bargaining Agreement, or CBA, had expired. Minutes later, MLB owners announced a lockout for the players, baseball's first work stoppage since the 1994-95 season. This means no free agent signings, no trades, and even the potential to miss a few regular season games. The union wants a system that players reach free agency at 29 and a half years of age, or if they achieved 5 years of service, or after 6 years of service time. The union's proposal might be hard to persuade because the owners like the idea of homegrown athletes being underpaid for the first few years. One big point of negotiation is revenue sharing. The players' union wants less revenue for the team and more towards the players. Because of the lockout, players cannot rehab at the club's facilities. However, they are allowed to play in winter leagues, independent leagues, and even professional leagues overseas. So, there will be no free agent signings, no use of team facilities, and no contact of any kind between team and player is allowed until a new agreement is reached. In general, players would like to be paid more at younger age because that's when they're in their prime. The system also favors keeping players in the minor leagues for several weeks extra to slow down their major league service time. The MLB website even removed all their profile pictures on MLB.com. Commissioner Rob Manfred said they're obligated to remove all the players' likeness, and players are even taking it amongst themselves to change their own profile pictures to their own silhouettes on Twitter. Free agency will resume when a new CBA is reached. Many big stars are still available, such as Freddie Freeman, Carlos Correa, and Chris Bryant. But only time will tell and when that agreement will be made. Now over to Lily Burrington and Maddie Beishaw in the current NHL season.
Thanks, Emma. It was an exciting week for the National Hockey League as upsets were made and winning streaks continued. Just another week in the NHL.
Yeah, Lily. The Philadelphia Flyers lost their 8th consecutive game. The Flyers allowed 7 goals to the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Columbus Blue Jackets won 6-4 against the San Jose Sharks at the Nationwide Arena.
There were a few major injuries that took place this week, but also injured players who luckily got to return to the ice. Ryan Getzlaf, who was placed on the injured reserve by the Anaheim on Sunday because of a returning lower body injury. New York Rangers goalie Igor Shesterkin was placed on injured reserve Saturday, causing him to be out for a week. And finally, forward Kucherov returned to the ice with the Lightning for the first time since his surgery.
I hate to see players go on injured reserve, but I love seeing them make an impact and come back to the ice. This Saturday, Alex Ovechkin scored his 750th goal for the Washington Capitals during their game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce participated in the NFL's My Cause, My Cleats event, where the players have customized designed footwear to promote a charitable event that they are involved in. Kelce chose his charity and decided to blend his cleats with one of the greatest, Wayne Gretzky's. Chiefs tight end collaborated with Gretzky's unmistakable Nike Zoom Air skates.
Nothing like mixing the best with the best, Maddie. A few games to look out for this week. On Tuesday, the Minnesota Wild faces the Edmonton Oilers. Wednesday, the Colorado Avalanche plays the New York Rangers. And finally, the Detroit Red Wings face off the St. Louis Blues.
As the semester ends, it will be interesting to see what teams do for a month. As the season gets longer, some teams will try to make a comeback and try to fix their season. After our final break, Jordan Ziegler will have all there is to know about the college football playoffs.
Hey, Joe. Thanks. Here, try this. The buzz is really great. I don't know. I don't usually like to vape. Well, it tastes really good. I'm sure you'll like it. Oh, what's the flavor? It's kiwi strawberry. Okay, maybe I'll try it. Just once, though. Hey, are you okay? No, ever since I started vaping, I've been coughing so much. Ashley, you were right. I should really try to quit.
Yeah, when I quit, I was nauseous at first, but it was the right decision. I'm so glad I did.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
Hey, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I just really shouldn't have started vaping.
Welcome back. With the conclusion of the conference championship games this past weekend, the college football postseason has been set. With multiple different outcomes possible, let's take a look at what happened. The first game of the day was the Big 12 championship between Baylor and Oklahoma State. The Cowboys, with only one loss, had a very real shot at making the playoffs with a win over Baylor. Being down 18 at one point, it looked like the Bears would run away with the game, but OSU had one of their signature comebacks, forcing the game to come down to a fourth and goal play. But the Cowboys could not convert and watch their playoff hopes come up inches short. Following the Big 12 championship was the SEC championship between Georgia and Alabama. Georgia was undefeated with easily the best defense in the nation. Alabama did not care, however, as they put up Okay, well, that's not working. As they put up 41 points against the Bulldogs' supposedly unbeatable defense. The final championship game with playoff implications was the Big Ten championship game, Iowa versus Michigan. There was not much to talk about with this one as the heavily outmatched Hawkeyes got rolled by number 2 Michigan 42-3. The final playoff picture is now set with Alabama as the 1 seed, Michigan as the 2, Georgia as the 3, and the dark horse Cincinnati as the 4 seed. So let's look at how the playoffs will work out. Starting with Alabama versus Cincinnati, I really want the Bearcats to win this game because I picked them to make the playoffs all the way back on our first show, and so I've grown semi-attached to them. Unfortunately, Alabama just looks too good right now. I think the game will be closer than people think, but the Crimson Tide are going to move on. The next semifinal was Georgia versus Michigan. This game is very hard to pick because it is a battle of 2 great defenses. The difference in this one will be what offense plays the best. I think that offense will be Michigan, and so the Wolverines will move on. The national championship of Michigan versus Bama would be very intriguing, and I honestly would feel like it's a mismatch for Alabama. The Tide has been bad against the run all year and has struggled against a quality defense at times. Michigan runs the ball really well, and plays defense even better. Because of this, I think the Michigan Wolverines will be the 2022 national champions. Maybe I will be completely off base, but it will be exciting to see how things play out. Now I will send it back over to Andrew for one last time this semester.
Well, Rock Chalk Replay this semester has come to a close. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in. We greatly appreciate all the support. For our entire crew, I'm Andrew Lind. Stay safe and have a good break. Rock Chalk, Jayhawks.